Yes, I have a little complaint there about that Mickey Mouse character.
Okay.
Yeah. I took my kids to that damn big amusement park there, that Disney park, and that silly little rodent, that mouse there, was making eyes at my kids. He was trying to, grab my kids and all kinds of silly shit. Turned my back for 2 seconds. Next thing I know, he's in the fountain with my kids with some little coconut oil, rubbing it all over my kids and whatnot. I can't have this. You're going to have to tell me what you're going to do about that mouse. Hello?
Well, thank you for sharing that with us.
I mean, is there something we can do about this? I'm going to have to choke this mouse or sue him or something.
What is your name?
Hey, my name. I got kids that are hurting because of this now, mentally.
And what are you talking about? The Mickey Mouse character yesterday?
That silly ass running around in the Mickey Mouse suit there. I don't know about it's a character himself, but the guy inside the suit must be a fruitcake or a nut job. He's running around the park there trying to grab at the little kids. He's making all kinds of silly faces, staring at the kids. He's running around with a little flapjack in his hand trying to hit the kids with it. I don't know. There's something silly going on with that guy.
What are you talking about as far as coconut oil?
He's got this, he called it sensual oil. He's got the kids in a fountain. This is ridiculous.
You need to let me know specifically where this happened and to who.
I'm going to straighten this guy out. I'm going to pull him out of that suit and choke him, and I'm going to make him swallow that frickin' Mickey Mouse head.
You have to give me specifics so we can get to the bottom of the problem.
I just did.
No, where specifically in the park did this happen?
Right by the fountain there.
The fountain? And which fountain?
Oh, geez, I don't know. The one right next to that big thing looks like a golf ball. And now the kids are traumatic. They're always waking up screaming Mickey and Minnie and all these other friggin' things out. They got the whole friggin' neighborhood going nuts here. That they're traumatized with the mouse was scaring them, and he was trying to sniffle and then sniff them, and he was nibbling on them and all this other nonsense.
So you're saying that the Mickey Mouse, when you visited that day, was chasing the children?
He was chasing them around with some kind of little spatula or something. He was trying to smack them, and he was... There was another guy there told me you got to watch out for that mouse. He's a real nibbler. And I don't know what he meant by that. And then everyone in the park was calling him Nibbles. And I can't have this. I mean, my kids are freaking out because of this shit.
Mickey Mouse chasing children with a spatula. And who was calling him Nibbles?
I don't know. People in the park were telling me you got to watch out for that guy. They call him Nibbles. He's a little wacky. Next thing you know, he's off to the side of the park there behind a tree with some other friggin' Goofy, and they're all playing behind a tree with the coconut oil. This is, really out of hand.
He was behind a tree with Goofy with coconut oil.
Well, I mean, the rest is history. I don't know what the hell to tell you, but, I think they should straighten this thing out.
Now, whose coconut oil did he have? Did he take it from a guest, do you know? And did you observe all this personally, or did you hear this secondhand?
I have no idea, honey. All I know is I seen him knock over a carriage, and all this stuff fell out of the carriage, and he's running around with a bottle of coconut oil, and he's trying to squirt it all over his little friend Goofy, and he's running through the friggin' fountain with his pants off. Then the other guy's trying to squirt him with the coconut oil all over the ass and stuff, and this guy, my kids see this shit. This is really, freaking them out.
Goofy was running through the fountain with his pants off. Did you see this personally?
Yeah, of course I did. Everybody was traumatized by it. The whole crowd there. That's why everybody was screaming, nibblers, nibblers, go. Everyone was getting crazy.
What were they screaming?
Nibblers. They were calling them nibblers.
Okay.
And then next thing you know, like I said, they had Snow White. She's running around crying and screaming that the two dolls were trying to beat her up.
So Snow White was running around crying.
Right. And all the, the little idiots they got in those little dwarf costumes.
Uh-huh. And why was she running around crying?
Because these guys were going crazy. They must have had, who knows, at lunch they could have had a couple of drinks. They could have got off the wall, for Christ's sake. Who knows what's going on?
Because Mickey and Goofy were running around.
Right, they were running around. They must have been drunk. They had, these little funny things in their hand, the coconut oil. The other Goofy guy's running around with no pants on in the fountain. The Snow White's crying, and all those little dwarfs are running around with her half crocked. It must have been a party or something. I don't know what's going on.
Okay. Now, you need to let me know what day you saw this in the park. It's very important that we have...
All right, let me talk to the kids. I'll get the dates and whatnot, and I just want to straighten out with the kids first. I want to know exactly what day it was. I'll get the tickets, and I'll call you back.
Okay, thank you.
The Geoff Lenox Feel Good Happy Time Podcast.
What's up, everybody? I'm your host, Geoff Lenox, and this is the Feel Good Happy Time podcast for Friday, March 13th. Friday the fucking 13th. When I was a kid, I used to stay up to watch the USA versions of all the old Friday the 13th movies, and I don't know, maybe I'll go watch some today, but as I got older, I started to realize that that's a complete fucking waste of my life. We started off this show with the Jerky Boys, Nibbler's the Mouse, which isn't actually on any Jerky Boys album. It's like a later release. I don't know if it was an old track that they hadn't put on an album or if it was something new. But I'm playing it for a number of reasons. The first reason would be that SoundCloud is a fucking pain in the ass. I now have to build my own website to host this thing. This is probably the last one that's going to show up on SoundCloud. They throw out like everything that they think sounds like something recorded by someone else. And obviously I'm doing this as my own radio show. I buy all these songs. I'd be happy to pay whatever 2-cent royalties I owe for like the next 20 years. For my 15 friends who are listening to this, for playing their recorded music just like a radio station, like, let me pay the royalties. No, it's not an option. They just throw out anything that they recognize as recorded by somebody else. They're going to go down for that. I guarantee you this website will burn for that decision. But that's the way it stands, and I got to build something new. So the way around it is you throw something, either a blank space or something that they won't recognize at the beginning. I guarantee you they don't have Nibbler's the Mouse on their radar. The other reason why I played that is it's fucking boys' weekend here. It's me and my dog Jameson. The wife and kid went out to Washington, D.C. to visit her family. Her grandmother, and I'm home alone. I was thinking, like, my mind, like, what would be awesome is like, we're going to go to fucking Disneyland. I'm going to get some friends. We're going to eat these marijuana chocolates, and we're going to go ride the rides at Disneyland. Well, none of my 4 friends that I actually know in this new city want to go to Disneyland with me or eat marijuana chocolates. And, well, it wasn't just like, hey, I just said, hey, let's go to Disneyland. I have a ticket left over because my niece visited a couple of weeks ago. And you pay like $120 or something like that for like a 2-park pass. And at any point when you activate it within 3 weeks, you have to use the other one. And basically, like, if you go to just Disneyland, it's $100. And if you just go to the California Adventure Park, it's $100. But if you do the two together, it's $120. And you just have to use the 2 tickets within 3 weeks of each other. So a couple weeks ago, I took my niece to California Adventure while she was out here. And then I didn't get to go to real Disneyland because I was busy working. And I still have the ticket in my wallet. I'm like, we'll just get fucked up and go while the old lady's out of town. But no, that's not going to happen. Nobody will come with me. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know what old Disneyland is going to mean to me. There's all these things in my life. The Ninja Turtles movie, Slush Puppies, all these things that, like, as a kid, I idealized. And now that I'm older, when I go back and try them, they don't hold up. And I was kind of hoping that maybe Disneyland would, but from what my sister's telling me, maybe it doesn't. But what I can tell you is that California Adventure, that's a boring piece of shit. That's a fucking total ripoff. And a lot of people would argue that a lot of the Disney stuff is a ripoff. But California Adventure is like, it's fucking tiny. I grew up with our amusement park was Kings Island, and they had some great rides there, and it was this wonderful trailer trash experience. I mean, it was just amazing people watching. And I guess Disneyland California Adventure kind of has the people watching too, but in a whole different way. Like, what you fucking start to realize when you go to Disneyland is how much idiocracy is real. You know, we walk around and there's a lot of parents with like 1 or 2 kids, right? And those are the parents that are well-spoken, polite, walking around nicely, not causing a problem for everybody else. And then you see those people that are like speaking a caveman's version of American English, and they weigh 600 pounds, and they're just like devouring everything in their sight and knocking into all the people around them and cutting people off like there's nobody else there. They're the ones that have 5 or 6 kids per couple, and it just hits home. I had a good time with my niece though. She's a fucking awesome kid. I think her favorite moment of the entire trip, I mean, she really loved everything, coming out and staying with us on the beach and the whole experience. I took her into Hollywood. Oh, that's a whole other story. But, yeah, when we first got to the park, my niece and I are walking. I'm fucking 6'3", and I'm not watching out for your little 2.5 foot kid. I wasn't. I mean, I kind of am. And that this kid was so dumb that he ran into me anyway. This kid comes plowing into my shin and flops backwards on the ground and just starts screaming and crying. And as an adult, I said, I'm sorry, in like that token kind of way. I'm not really sorry. It's not my fault. Your kid fucking ran right into my leg, but as the adult, I say, I'm sorry. Are you all right? Are you all right? This little fucking bastard is like, you fucking hurt me, you stupid idiot, and punches me in the leg. I'm like, all right, whatever. I fucking, because I trucked over this kid. He fucking ran into me. He ran right under me as I'm stepping, and my foot took up like from way before the front of his toe all the way up almost to his knee and just squashed him flat. I bet it fucking hurt. I bet it really did. But this kid is like screaming at me and calling me fucking names, calling me an idiot and punching me. And for like 2 seconds, you're like, okay, yeah, you're under some emotional duress. I get it. But then when it kept going, I'm like, all right, you little fucking turd. Like, and his dad comes running over. He's like, it's okay, it was an accident. It's like, no, actually, it wasn't even an accident. Your kid fucking ran under my legs. I didn't do anything. It was an accident, nothing. Nothing is on me. I didn't say that, but I'm still playing the, like, yeah, I'm sorry, I hope he's all right card. But if that kid's dad wasn't there, I'd have fucking stomped his face. Little fucking bastard. And what about the dad? Like, raising your kids like that, And I don't mean like, hey, kids shouldn't talk back to adults, because they should. I had a million piece of shit teachers in fucking 6th grade and under in my elementary school that like you don't talk back to because they're adults. No, those people are fucking idiots, and I don't care if I'm only 11 years old. Like, and I don't care if my daughter's 11 years old. If some moron is giving her shit, yeah, you have a right to talk back. But anyway, this kid was like wildly out of line. He kept hitting me, kept screaming. His dad's barely doing anything about it. But you know what? It made my niece's trip, and that's what's important. That's what she talked about when we came home. My sister's staying with her. Guess what, Mommy? So Uncle Jeffy ran over this kid and he did this, and that's like her favorite fucking thing. You know what my thing was about being at that California Adventure Park? And You could call me fucked up. It is fucked up the way that I looked at it. But we're riding on all these little kiddie rides, right? And like I said, I grew up in our park was Kings Island. Apparently there's like a lot of amusement park deaths that don't get reported or that they cover up or whatever for whatever reason. But I remember when I was younger at Kings Island, there was one day of death where some woman had gotten totally blasted, and she's up in this thing. It was called Flight Commander at Kings Island, but there were several of these rides around the country because I've ridden them at other amusement parks. And it's like you're in this rocket ship thing that you can make go up or down by about 10 or 15 feet, and you can make the thing fucking barrel roll left and right. And in every one that I've ever been, because I was always a younger kid, the harness was like way loose, and I feel like I'm going to fall out of it. And everyone I've ever been in, the adult thinks it's hilarious and is rolling us back and forth. Kind of like that fat kid in the like slingshot ride that's like slipping out. That was what was happening. But at Kings Island, some girl got wasted and actually tried to climb out of the harness, and she did. And she splatted on the ground. And a couple hours later, somebody else went and touched like a pond, like a scenic pond outside of the beer hall, and it was electrified, and he got zapped and fell into the water and started like spasming, and some other person thinks they're going to be a hero and dives into the water to get him out. Well, the first guy that was in the water that got shocked got out, but the dude that jumped in to save him got electrocuted to death. And this was all on the same day. I remember it. I remember talking about it extensively with my family and being completely shocked. But after that, when you went to Kings Island, like every ride was fucking locked down. You couldn't do jack shit that was dangerous to yourself because you were strapped in so tightly. And that's what kind of struck me about being in California Adventure with my niece. It's like, and again, I know this speaks worlds about my psyche, but my thinking the entire time is like, there is nothing stopping me from jumping out of this. There's nothing stopping me from sticking my arms out and getting them smacked off. Like, they fully rely on a certain amount of intelligence and sanity at this park. That, yeah, if you stay in your seat, you're fine. But what if you don't want to stay in your seat? And this is what I'm thinking about. So real Disneyland has those rocket ships, and I haven't gotten back to ride them yet. But the California Adventure has these like airships that look like Zeppelins, and it takes you way up in the air, and it just drives around, and it kind of fly, and you're swinging out. And I'm like, man, if I wanted to, I could totally fucking face plant out of one of these easily. And then I started thinking about that. You know, my niece is in this fucking ship, laughing her ass off, having a great time being up there. And I'm thinking about like how easy it would be to nosedive out of this thing and ruin some kid's life forever. And then that just became this hilarious thing to me. And like on all these rides, you know, and that's what I'm going to do. You know, we joke about suicide and stuff a lot on here, and I am joking. So I don't want anybody fucking calling the cops or strapping me down or anything like that. But if I were going to do it, the new plan is fucking Disneyland. I'm going to go up to the top of some iconic ride, and I'm going to, because if you're going to commit suicide, you're at the end of your rope. You don't give a fuck. And for me, it's an angry rebellion against the world. You didn't understand me. You didn't appreciate me. I've had a terrible life, and I should have had a good one, and it's because of all you fucking idiots. So, with my last bitter breath, I'm going to get to the top of some ride, probably the rocket ships at Disneyland, and I'm going to wait until like there's a huddle of kids, like all waiting to get Mickey Mouse's autograph or like Cinderella's or something, or even better yet, like a friend that I was discussing with this, the Disneyland parade, and then just very quietly and calmly jump out of the rocket ship and bam, splat on the ground. You know, some kid, Mickey, yeah, sign my book, and then boom, like 200 pounds of ground beef splattering on the concrete. That kid will be fucked for life. And you know what? Welcome to the real world, kid. It's not all fucking Mickey Mouse and churros and fucking ice cream. This is what happens. That's sick. Maybe we'll write a movie about it. My friend and I are talking about it. I'm going to Disneyland. Let's give me my new phrase. Maybe, you know, it's like if hey, I'm going to Disneyland. That's when you guys all need to watch out. That's when you should call the cops and the straitjackets. Enough about that. Anyway, a lot has been going on, and I really need to record these podcasts more often because when I wait so long, I have so much to talk about, and I end up just babbling and changing direction, and things an hour and a half long, and it doesn't make any sense. But we've had a real good week, or a couple weeks with my band. We blew the fucking doors off of the Whiskey A Go-Go. It was awesome. I mean, it was really awesome. And I was incredibly worried about it beforehand because we didn't put the time in that we should have to practice, and we didn't get the schedule together to do it. And it wasn't the guys that I'm playing with, because those guys are all great guys. They're known as the Texas Rifles. They've been a tight-knit group of guys for a long time, and they're great players. And they're all far more accomplished professionally than I am. But we didn't put the time in, and really for me, I didn't get the time in to sing, and especially trying to sing and play guitar at the same time. I was worried about it. We pulled it off. It was amazing. I was amazed, and it feels really good because now I know it's a sustainable thing. You know, it's like if we can do this with this little effort, and this is the first one, it's going to be the most work, then we're good from here on out. And we are. I mean, these guys that I'm playing with are great, and we didn't do our due diligence for the first show, and it was an amazing show anyway. So it's only going to get easier and better from here. I feel really good about that. We're having a hard time booking our second show, really. Probably shouldn't even get into that until another episode because things are still in the works and it's not time to burn bridges yet, but I am getting frustrated. Yeah, all right, I'm going to shut up. We're going to play a fucking song, you know? We talked about Disneyland. I'm home alone. You know what? We're not going to play a song. We played the Jerky Boys earlier, and it was because it was related to Disneyland. There's one more that I have to play, and I don't care, you know, like you guys might think it's lame that I'm playing 2 prank calls or whatever in a row, but this is where I think I can show you something new, which is the whole point of this podcast. There was a third Jerky Boy in the early days. You guys who know the Jerky Boys know Johnny B and you know Kamal, but when the original bootlegs were circulating around, and the story of the Jerky Boys is, it's a couple of friends from Queens who were making prank calls and just recording them and sharing them with their friends. Those tapes made it around to the Howard Stern show, and Howard Stern started playing them, and then that launched a career for these guys. At some point, in between Howard Stern playing the bootleg tapes and all of that shit that was going around the city on its own, and their record deal, they ditched this third guy, or he quit, or whatever. And later on, he put out his own album called the Musacha Tapes. I found him about 4 or 5 years ago, and as a longtime Jerky Boys fan, this guy is like the funniest out of the 3 of them. He is so violently angry If you like the Jerky Boys and you don't know the Musacha tapes, go order it. MUSCHA tapes. It is some of the funniest shit I've ever heard. And people are online like, oh, it's a ripoff of the Jerky Boys. It's like, no, he was one of them. This is the shit that didn't get published that you don't know. Anyway, this is the Musacha tapes. I don't know what the guy's real name is. He goes by John Musacha on the record. He's a real enigma. I would love to know more about who he is, but I can't find anything with Google searches or anything like that. This is called Defective Dog.
Hello, can I help you?
Yeah, I want to know what it is with you people. You know, you saw my wife, a dog. It's shitting all over the house. It's eating every goddamn thing all over the place. It's chewing up the furniture. What the hell am I going to do?
First of all, calm down.
What am I supposed to do?
Please try not to curse, okay?
I can't help it, ma'am. I'm very, very angry.
I believe you.
I'm very angry.
Okay.
This damn dog. There he goes. Hold on a second. Come here, you fucker. Lie down, you. I don't know what to do with him.
How did you beat up a dog like this?
Hey, what? Hey, I paid a lot of money for this goddamn furniture.
You got no damn right to do that. You cannot.
He doesn't listen, ma'am. That's why I'm calling you. This dog doesn't listen.
Turner, you have no right to beat up a dog like this. I can report you to the SPCA, but you know that? You have no right to beat up a dog. It's an helpless animal.
Listen, ma'am. I'm very angry. I've got the right to come down here and start beating a few people down there, but I don't want to do that because I'm a civilized person.
I don't think you're a civilized person if you beat.
Well, let me tell you something. Hey, if this goddamn dog was chewing up your furniture, what would you do?
Did I tell you not to confine a dog
Oh, Jesus.
in an area? You can't let him be around the furniture when he's a puppy. How can you beat up a dog like this?
What am I supposed to do?
Are you on drugs or something?
No, I'm not on drugs.
How dare you to bite a dog small like this? You don't know you're a big, strong man?
I'm not a big, strong man. I'm really pissed off, ma'am. This dog's got a defect, ma'am. You don't understand that.
Can I have
He's
your phone
biting,
number?
he's nipping at every goddamn thing. He's shitting and pissing all over the house. What? You don't hear me, do you?
Phone number?
Jesus Christ.
Dave, your phone number.
My phone number. What are you going to call me back for?
And your wife brought the dog over here?
That's right, ma'am. Clean your ears. That's what I'm telling you. About 3 weeks ago, this little stupid-looking white thing, I don't even know what you call it.
Okay.
Said I wouldn't walk him. Let me tell you. I don't even like my kids walking him because they look like a fag. But my wife loves the goddamn dog, and he's shitting and pissing all over the house. I don't know what to do, all right? And I'll bring you my fucking wife. Maybe she can work with you because the two of you sound like you're perfect together.
I think you're disgusting the way you're behaving.
Yeah.
And you treat your dog.
Well, listen, if you had a beautiful house like mine, and you had this dog fucking it all up, let me tell you, I have a good mind.
What kind of a man beat up a little hopeless dog?
Come here, you fucking...
Is this guy for real? Is that this guy for real?
Lie down. I said lie down. Unbelievable.
I think you're disgusting.
I'm going to call the fucking authorities on you people.
I'll call the authorities.
Yeah, that's right. You're selling defective dogs and you can get in trouble for that and you don't even realize it.
What's your address?
These dogs are retarded. They must be retarded to be... Lie down. I said lie down. Don't you even bother going near that fucking rug. Are you in the practice of selling defective dogs to people?
Oh God, man! I don't know who you are. I hope it's a fucking joke because I'm so upset about what.
Yeah, well, let me tell you something. I'm upset too. If you saw my fucking furniture.
Give me the dog.
And when my wife gets here, I'm gonna kick her fucking ass. And you can have the dog and my wife. I'll tell you that right now because I'm fucking fed up.
Give me the dog.
All right.
Bring the dog over here.
All right. Good night, ma'am. Good night. And I'll bring that dog to you.
Okay.
So that is the Musacha tapes, the third missing Jerky Boy. If you guys think that's funny, and some of you probably don't, that might be a little over the top for some of you, which maybe that's why it's not on the Jerky Boy albums. That guy is just fucking brutal, which I think is the funniest part of it. But if you think it's funny, go check out the rest of the album because it actually gets worse from there. Anyway, what else is going on? We talked Disneyland. We've talked... we're working on another show. for the band and a few different things. I went to the Viper Room to check out this band that people had told me I needed to check out, called the Dirty Cakes, and I really liked what they were doing. And so we're going to do this week's Unknown Band segment a little bit early. This is what my favorite song from their set was, and it's called Never Alone. We're actually working on booking a show with them right now, and so hopefully these guys are my friends, and we start playing together on a regular basis. But this is their song Never Alone, which I saw at the Viper Room the other night. I thought it was great. The Dirty Cakes. That is the Dirty Cakes with Never Alone. Hopefully my new friends, hopefully my new show partners and co-acts. What to talk about next? Well, like I said, the wife and kid are out of town. I'm left at home. Everybody thinks like, ooh, I can't tell you the number of times I've heard, Ooh, bachelor weekend. No, it's not. And everybody that's listening to this that's married, that's a guy, knows that it's not. Only people, actually, it was married guys that said that to me, but it's like, maybe they're kind of hoping that somebody else is having some adventure. We're not. It's not happening. You know what I do? I fucking, I sit at home. I realize that I have no friends and outside of my wife, and I play video games, and that's what we do when the wives are gone. And don't get me wrong. I mean, look, every dude who is married is constantly thinking about other puss and how they can nail it. That's on our mind 90% of the day. But the real reality of the whole situation is that it's not available to us. You know? What am I going to do? Go out and fucking sit at a bar? Do I wear my wedding ring or do I not wear my wedding ring? I mean, I like my wedding ring. It's badass. It's silver with a black precious metal in the middle. It looks really tough as far as, something that's designed only to scare off new puss for the rest of my life. Yeah, it's fucking awesome and I love wearing it. But, you go out to the bar, you wear it. Then maybe most girls don't talk to you. And then the ones that do, you got to wonder, like, hey, or you don't wear it. And then when it comes to the point of like, okay, so what are we doing now that we've sat here and drank these crappy margaritas? And then you tell them, look, I'm married, and slip it on. And that doesn't work out real well either. So that whole thing's out. What I'm saying is, ladies, you don't have to worry about the cheating as much as we do. Because a girl can go out and she could be broken up for that hour and go tell some dude, and she'll get pounded in the parking lot. No problem. But it's not the same for us. And what else have we got? We've got the rub and tugs, which I don't even go to anymore. It's not, my girl's okay. She's a very open-minded, flexible person. But, like the rub and tugs, that's just shady. And I didn't know it when I first started going, but actually I started to figure out what was happening. I don't go to those anymore. And really you shouldn't either. And if you know what's happening at them and you go to them, then you're a fucking scumbag that I wouldn't piss on if you were on fire. But I don't mean to be racist, but especially with the Asian community, an Asian rub and tug. That girl better speak perfect English and look like she was raised in California. Otherwise, you're a fucking scumbag and you're probably taking advantage of somebody that was manipulated into being there and lives a miserable life in some back room right behind where she just jerked you off. Now, on the other hand, I'm not ruling out all rub and tugs. If you find the one where they speak perfect English and you can tell that this person's been born in America, white girls, Latina girls, Asian girls, if they really speak perfect English, but I'm always a little wary of them, period. If they're born in America and they're doing that, then it's not usually a manipulative, horrible thing. And, it's like they say that, like, oh, there is no prostitute that has options. The only reason they're in there is they don't have options. It's not entirely true. Not by my subscription. It's like if your girl's in there and she grew up in Pasadena and she's fucking jerking people off over a table after giving them a half-ass unqualified massage. Yeah, that girl maybe didn't have great options. I mean, she certainly isn't a Kennedy, But if she's born in America and she speaks English and she's doing that, then that means that she did have a choice and she chose that over being a waitress at Denny's. And I don't blame her. I think I would rather jerk dudes off than be a waitress at Denny's. No offense, Well, I love you ladies that served me when I was in high school before our tests and we'd go get the grand slams. But if you chose to jerk fat, hairy dudes' cocks instead, I wouldn't hold anything against you. Anyway, that's my tip. If you're gonna go out, first off, the moral of this story is the guys really can't cheat as easy as you think we can. And if we were going to, our options are limited. And if you're going to take those limited options, guys, I'm just saying, just don't fucking go to the obvious immigrants. And if you do run into a situation where there's an obvious immigrant, call the authorities. But, if she grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio, and that's where she wants to be, fair game. And it is Friday night. And it's 12:32 a.m. here in Los Angeles. And I'm not out getting jerked off by Asian sex slaves. I'm at home recording a podcast. And I hope my wife is proud. So, what am I going to do for man's weekend? I'm not out cheating. I'm at home. What can I do that I'm not allowed to do when she's usually here? I can play Jerky Boys. And I can play metal, which is what I played the Pantera song at the beginning for. That's my favorite Pantera song. I thought about putting on Revolution Is My Name. But no. The best Pantera song really is Mouth for War. So that's what I played. And I'm not allowed to listen to this shit. Women don't like, I don't mean to generalize. There are women that like metal. But the women that I'm interested in do not like metal. And my wife definitely doesn't like metal. And so when she's gone, this is my chance to listen. Here's a song by, I don't really like a lot of new bands. I like Muse and... I don't know, to be honest, that might really be it. But the one, I really like Hatebreed. So here's a song by Hatebreed off of their self-titled album.
Born to bleed, fighting to succeed, built to endure what this world throws at me. Born to bleed, fighting to succeed, built to endure what this world throws at me. Born to bleed, fighting to succeed, built to endure
That was Hatebreed with In Ashes They Shall Reap off their self-titled album Hatebreed. Okay. Yeah, doing all the stuff that my wife won't let me listen to. I don't mean like she won't let me listen to it like she's a fucking uptight bitch. It's just if we're riding together, like, hey, I want to put on Hatebreed. No. Or I maybe get to play like 2 or 3 songs. And then, I'm kind of sick of that. So, it's boys weekend and this is what we're doing. What else we got? A couple more metal things. Let's do what I think is the most like underrated metal band. You know, I really love Pantera. They're my favorite as far as like metal. But everybody that I know is all about Metallica. And to me, Metallica, I like them, but they never really tripped my switch that hard. The band that I thought was better than Metallica was Megadeth. And I went through a lot of their songs tonight and thought about playing different things that are like maybe less known by them. I guess maybe that's why we don't know Megadeth. Or you know, because like we all, at least me, I go back to the same song, Symphony for Destruction. To me, that's their best. I tried to look for something else that was less obvious and less known. And I just don't want to bum anybody out by playing. Like, I want to give them their best. If you don't know Megadeth, this is the best taste that I can give you. This is Symphony for Destruction.
You take a mortal man and put him in control. Watch him become a god. Watch people's heads roll. Destruction, acting like a robot. Its metal brain corrodes. You try to take us balls before the head explodes. Explodes. Just like the Pied Piper, led rats through the streets. We dance like marionettes, swing to the symphony. Just like the Pied Piper, led rats through the streets. We dance like marionettes, swaying to the symphony, swaying to the symphony of the starts to rumble. World powers fall.
Yeah, Megadeth with Symphony of Destruction. You know, it's like these things are getting so fucking long. What are we at? 55 minutes now? And I don't know. I don't know where the good balance is. It's like I don't want to put them out too often. There aren't that many people listening. I can't invest that much time. But when I wait 3 fucking weeks, or this has only been 2, I've got like 2 podcasts worth of shit to say by the time I get back on here, and I don't know where to start, and I jump around like ADD back and forth. Anyway, I think I might need to start ramping these up again and doing them every week. But I need you guys out there to fucking spread it around and get other people to listen. If there are more listeners, then it makes more sense for me to spend more of my time on this. And right now I've been chopping it back and cutting the length back on everything. And I've got so many more subjects to tackle just for this week alone. I mean, my wife and I just went to New York for the first time in a year, which was great. In certain ways, and other ways it reminded me exactly why I don't want to live there anymore. And I'm incredibly happy to be where we are now. I mean, not to fucking shit on the rest of you while you're down, but we had a fucking heat wave here. It was over 80 today, and people are complaining about how hot it is. I don't know what you're doing in the rest of the country, but when I was there in New York, we had a fucking snowstorm, and you don't have a car to go get into. You're fucking walking around on the street. You're pushing for me, I'm pushing a stroller around on the street through slush and ice. It's a really hard way to live. And for those of you that are genuinely happy about living in New York, then good for you. I applaud you. But there is a certain high percentage of your population that fucking hates life there, but is bought into the swindle of like, no, it's great. This is the fucking best place to live in the entire world. I mean, and like, why? Why? You could own a goddamn city block sized mansion in Iowa, but instead you're living in a 15 by 15 apartment with shitty heating, shitty plumbing. And then when you do want to go outside to commute anywhere, you're walking through a dirty street that's oftentimes covered with rain, snow, slush, and then down into a subway where you're packed like fucking cattle in against crazy and smelly people for more money than like the upper class in other states live. And that's my rant. I'm going to shut up about that now. But while I was there, I went to Manitoba's bar with my buddy Joe Hogan, who produced my record. And there's rumor that they're on the verge of closing, which is not cool. These guys, if you don't know, so Dick Manitoba goes by the name Handsome Dick Manitoba, is a punk rock legend in New York City. And he's real deal fucking, I don't want to say blue collar because that always sounds so insulting. He's real deal like fucking neighborhood East Village. Like he no pretense. He's the dude that would lead the fucking city council meeting. You know, like the irate guy that you didn't expect to have an opinion but got up and fucking had one. And he has a bar called Manitoba's on Avenue B that's a long time rock and roll hangout, and there's rumors that it's going away. And these guys are like one of the greatest rock and roll bands ever, let alone one of the greatest in New York City. They sound to me like a smash up of AC/DC and the Ramones, especially in their later years, which is when I got into them, is this album that I'm about to play you. And that's cool. One of my favorite compliments and one of the things that I've liked is that most of the people that have come at me with, oh, you sound like blah, 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 and they're trying to compliment me, they hit me with different things, and that's a good thing. What sucks is when they come up and they all say, oh, you sound just like, and they're all saying the same band. then that means you imitated somebody too much. But one of my favorite compliments was somebody said that we sounded like AC/DC and the Sex Pistols were smashed together and had a baby. And to me, the Dictators sound like AC/DC and the Ramones had a baby, which is, a wet dream come true for me. I've loved them since the minute I saw them. This is the Dictators with their song about gentrification and the disappearing of the Lower East Side, which ironically may be happening to Dick Manitoba and Manitobas, and I hope to God it's not. And if you're listening to this and you have anything to do about it, go out there and drink your fucking faces off at that bar and keep it alive. But this is Avenue A by the Dictators. That is the Dictators with their song Avenue A. And that's like the good side of New York in my mind, There's a lot that I go there and I'm like, why the fuck did I stay in this place for so long? It's so fucking hard compared to the rest of the country. But those people are tough, The ones that are there, they can fucking eat the rest of you alive. My friend Morgan and I were talking about it while we were out. It's like, you know, California, you're a bunch of fucking vages compared to New York. If New Yorkers wanted to, they, and I don't mean like, you know, I don't know about like the gang violence in LA versus New York. I don't know about that shit. But the largest demographic, which is the normal office working people, you put the New York nice people against the LA nice people in a cage match to the death, and New York is gonna fucking steamroll right over them. All right, well, we're going to close this up, but it is St. Patrick's Day. And on top of that, I just heard about this fucking Robin Thicke Pharrell lawsuit by the descendants of Marvin Gaye. And like, really? You know, and they fucking won too? Seems completely ludicrous to me. But, you know, my attitude, so their defense is like, oh, well, it was I think that they're saying it's an influence, or else they were saying, no, it had nothing to do with it at all. And the fact that this shit won, who of us is out there making original music that is untouched by somebody else? To me, that song doesn't sound like a ripoff of the other song at all. But if it was, like, even if they said, yes, we were thinking Marvin Gaye when we made it. Really? Do we owe people money now for that? And that we aren't allowed to make money for ourselves? That was another shocking part of it. Is Robin Thicke, and this might be what their accountants reported, you know, which is probably 1/3 of what they actually made or something, but that each of them made $5 million for that song, which to me sounds crazy. You know, that's what we're looking at. That's the cap of a worldwide hit that is on every motherfucker's ringtone, on every commercial, and on the radio 3-4 times an hour. 5 million. Those used to be different numbers. But that's what it is. Anyway, it's St. Patrick's Day, and I have to play my song that I wrote, hoping when I wrote this song, it started off as let's get into where fucking songs come from, you know. And if one of these bands wants to sue me for what? I mean, nothing. But it started off as a ripoff of Band on the Run by Wings and Paul McCartney. That chord progression of back and forth between, I don't even know what interval it is, but for my guitar, it became the C and the F. And eventually, a guy that I was working with, Nick Chimbukas, who was working, he was originally going to be the producer on my record, but we just didn't see eye to eye enough to make it all the way through. He recommended changing the chord progression, or not the chord progression, but the key. It was in a different key, and he brought it into another key. And that became B flat. And from there, the fact that it's in B flat, I didn't know why, but it kept reminding me of Long Way to the Top, If You Want to Rock and Roll by AC/DC, and made me think of bagpipes. The reason it made me think of bagpipes, later on I found out, is the bagpipe only is in the key of B flat. So a lot of the songs that you'll hear a bagpipe playing along with are playing in the key of B flat, which is what this song was in. And once I pictured it that way, then it turned into a Dropkick Murphys song in my mind. And then it was like, oh, let's make this about drinking. And there you go. Okay? So at no point did I sit down and say, I am going to rip off a Dropkick Murphys song. And now that it's done, everybody hears it as, hey, that sounds like the Dropkick Murphys. And that's fine. I expected them to say that. That's why I don't put it out as a single. But there is a difference between homage and stealing, you know? And what I was doing was, here's something that's kind of leaning in that direction of this band that I really love anyway. Let's kind of give them a nod of the hat. And it's a salute. It's a fucking God's honest salute that says, hey guys, I like what you're doing and I've learned from you. And that's what you're doing. And if there was any conscious connection with the Robin Thicke and Pharrell thing to Marvin Gaye, I imagine that's what they were doing. They weren't stealing. That song is not stolen. It's not the same melody. Yes, it sounds like Marvin Gaye, but it's kind of in respect, I would think, to Marvin Gaye. Anyway, it's St. Patrick's Day. Got a couple more songs. I got to shut the fuck up because this thing is getting really, really long. This is my song, Another Nail in the Coffin, and it's going to be followed by The Fields of Athenry, which is my favorite song by the Dropkick Murphys. And that's actually an old Irish folk song. They didn't write it, but it's my favorite Dropkick Murphys recording. I don't claim to be anywhere near as good as them. I hope that someday they hear my song and they're like, cool, some other people were inspired by us. That's what I'm looking for. You know, this lawsuit shit is ridiculous. Here we go. Another Nail in the Coffin by Geoff Lenox, and The Fields of Athenry by the Dropkick Murphys.
When I was just a small boy, my father, he held me, gave me my first taste of beer. If only he'd known the trouble it'd give me as my drinking progressed through the years. Now remember the day, came home to my family in a circle all waiting for me. They said everyone down is like another nail in your coffin. Well, I left from local meetings about an hour ago. Still something just ain't sitting right. I got a head full of worry and a pocket of dough. I'm afraid I'm getting fucked up tonight. There are cheers and applause from the sloppiest drunks as I stroll through the door of my bar. But there's fear on the faces, but tears in the eyes of anyone else who knows who we are. One shot for you, man. Two shots for me. One shot for you, man. That's another one down. Another nail in the coffin. Yeah, I was young and lean and cruising strange till I got me a hot little wife. Now we don't go out, we're overfed and we're both fucking twice the size. My asshole boss, he's nearly retarded and my job damn near brings me to tears. At least I used to have dreams about the things that I wanted. I ain't even had those for years. One shot for you, man. Two shots for me. One shot for you, man. That's another one down. Another nail in the coffin. So your brother friend, well, I'm glad you're doing fine. Look at me, I'm having the time of my life. If you found a And I know I'm past my last one, but my lady liquor, she's very persuasive, and tonight once again she has won. Now I'm getting loud and I'm getting stupid, cause when I fuck up right. When the bartender said maybe you should go home, I says I'm already home tonight. One shot for you, man. Two shots for me. One shot for you, man. That's another one down. Another nail in the coffin. That's another one down. Another nail in the coffin. That's another one down. Another nail in the coffin.
By a lonely prison wall, I heard a young girl calling. Michael, they have taken you away, for you stole Trevelyan's corn, so the young might see the morn. Now a prison ship lies waiting in the bay.
Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. If you're going out and making bad decisions, I hope to God you'll make another nail in the coffin your theme song. That's what I envisioned when I wrote it. I wanted it to sit right in between Piano Man and Sweet Caroline. As far as those songs that, like, when you're at a bar and everybody's shit-faced, like, that the drunk dudes can't help but sing along to and smash glasses against each other and pound on the tables and shit. Only I was kind of like, and don't get me wrong, I don't think I've hit that. I think that those are two of the greatest songs ever recorded. I don't think that Another Nail in the Coffin is up there, but when I wrote it, the goal was to aim for that. And, you know, but I was kind of like always picturing, like, not only were they like screaming and wailing on the tables like they do when Piano Man or Sweet Caroline comes on, but that maybe like pants were coming down or people are pissing themselves or throwing up all over each other. And that like the bartender fucking freaks out when somebody puts it on the jukebox. Like, oh no, fuck no. Like, that's what I want. If any of you can go out and make me proud, God bless you. Anyway, that's it. This is the episode for March 14th, which started on the 13th. And thank you all for listening. I'm going to leave you with another band that I'm not allowed to listen to in my house. I don't blame her. You know, they're when I was a kid, like we saw them on MTV and stuff. And like as 12-year-olds, we were mocking it. Like, this is goofy. And then at some point it got like okay, and I don't know. They're just one of those bands that I've given a pass to. But when I throw this CD on, which is every St. Patrick's Day, all fucking St. Patrick's Day long, it's the Dropkick Murphys and House of Pain. This is Life Goes On by House of Pain. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Thank you for listening. If you're listening to this, you are the resistance.
Remember when the shit hit the fan? And the man wanna know which way you ran. Back it up, slack it up, pop your corn. I got more style than Sun Doobies got porn. Top of the morn, rise and shine. LA Swan, got no spine. Drop that stick pig, my crew's real thick. Drop your gun pig and get a real dick. I got my gat cause I don't trust ya. Play me close and make me nervous, I'll bust ya. LA's no joke, the cops don't care. They'll beat you down till there's just a fucking hair. A life left in ya, then they'll pin ya. Way out in wayside, watch your backside. White and black pride, it's what goes on. And life 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 goes on. And on to the break of dawn. And on to the next day. Hey yo, by the way, did you know about the science of creation? About the Masons, about the nation of Islam? This on my leg on my head. To the 33rd degree, you know that's me. Ease back so ease off or I'll squeeze off my clip. Please don't trip or we's gon' flip. The House of Pain makes clouds and rains on parades. I wear shades when it's sunny. Sometimes I run funny, I ain't in it for the money, but I get mine before the show goes on. And life goes on. And life goes on. And life goes on. And life goes on.